I had a friend of mine call me yesterday. It's funny they call me because I guess they think we do a relationship kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's like,
well,
don't say anything about this on your show. And I'm like, sure.
It's confidential. Yeah.
Friend of a friend. So here's this guy, he's single, and he's kind of like the third wheel with his best friend and his wife.
Okay.
There's three of them, guy, married, and then this third guy. And this past weekend, actually on Labor Day, yesterday, they were over at a friend's house having dinner, and there's several couples and a couple other single people. And he noticed his wife flirting with another guy.
Wait, he noticed not the third guy, not the single guy.
The single guy noticed the wife of his best friend.
Oh, not his wife. He knows his wife.
Because he's not married. He's a single guy.
Okay.
He noticed the wife of his best friend flirting with this other guy in the kitchen. And I said, "What do you mean flirting?"
Yeah.
He goes, you could just feel the energy. And I was like, okay. And he goes, and she was standing like really close to him.
Okay.
She is kind of a touchy person anyway, but she was grabbing his elbow. And I said, "Did you know the guy?" He goes, "No, I don't know the guy." And I pretty much know all their friends. And I said, "I know her husband doesn't know who this guy is."
Okay.
And I said, "Did she knew who the guy was?" And he goes, "I'm not sure."
Okay.
And he goes, "Because we just met, but they introduced each other like they had never met before." And I was like, "Okay, don't catastrophize here. Just back off and give me the details so Dr. Josh and Tony can help you through this ordeal." And he said, "I wasn't the only one in the room. She knew I was there. There were some other people, but if we didn't know, we would have thought they were a couple."
Ooh, okay.
That's how the energy flowed, and they were laughing. She was she was blushing a little bit. And then
how long did this go on for?
I don't know. He didn't say how long it went on, but it was uncomfortable. And he was like, "I'm not overprotective of my friend. He's my best friend since college.
Sure.
He's done his own thing. I've known her since they dated all the way back in college. They've been together for 20 years. And it just, but he said something just wasn't right. He said it really made me uncomfortable. And he goes, all I could think about was, and I'll say John is his best friend. He said, all I could think of is if John was in this room, I don't think he would have been real happy with the energy
really
that was being.
Yeah.
So while they didn't kiss or do anything or go home together, she left, he left, and then she went and sat next to her husband, held his hand, they sat there and ate dinner, and then they left. And it was just kind of like, and he's like, something just wasn't right. And so he got kind of quiet because he couldn't stop thinking about it because John's his best friend.
Sure.
And he's like, and I didn't say anything, but I felt the need to say, listen, I know this isn't really my business,
but
and this is not a loner. This is not a guy. This is a guy that dates. He's just not married and chooses not to be married. And he's like, I didn't know whether I should say anything because I didn't want to start something. Maybe it's a coworker, but they did meet each other and they shook hands. And he's like, okay, so they didn't know each other that well. And so it was kind of
like hanging out.
Well, they were in the kitchen, people were snacking and grabbing things and going out in the backyard and coming back in and watching the game, going there, just kind of moving around. And he goes, from that point on, I kind of felt like I was kind of spying on them all night. And he goes, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary, but there was an energy there. And some other people, someone who came up to me who knows I'm good friends with her and him and said, who's that guy? Okay. And he's like,
so nobody knew that. Okay. So to me, the most interesting piece of this is just where my head was going. Because this is all a bunch of friends. I mean, they don't have to be close friends and acquaintances. Is what you said. Who's that guy? Who is that guy? That's what because people knew each other. Mm-hmm. These weren't. I mean, it sounds like this was not a gigantic party with lots of strangers, albeit maybe. Not. So the first thing, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Okay. Because it's like we said in the first hour. Somebody doesn't seem quite right. Give it another day. He
mentioned that she's a flirty type.
Okay,
but she's not flirty with everybody.
Well, but it's
and he goes, and she doesn't. She left him and then went straight to her husband, and that was kind of the end of it. Yeah. And he just thought it was really bizarre because she's not the kind of guy or girl that will flirt with everybody in the room.
Yeah.
She's very attractive. She likes to have fun. She laughs at people's jokes. That kind of flirty. But he said there was a lot of touching going on that I thought was really interesting, particularly during a pandemic situation. It was kind of weird. And she was right up against him while he was making a drink or something in the kitchen. He just said it was.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm not going through anything myself. I didn't just have a breakup. I'm not.
No.
He goes, it was just really
So here's what you
uncomfortable.
do, right? So you put it in the back of your mind, or front of your mind, you put it there. You have to be careful because you put it in your mind, you don't say anything the first time. You don't. Because you don't know enough. You don't know enough. This is, I mean, you wouldn't even call necessarily, you call Jeff Hammock on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not enough that you, because if you think about it, here's the way I play out. Think about it. If you say to him, if you said something to your friend, what would you say? You'd say, I saw your wife and I love her. She's the greatest thing in the world, but she's talking to this guy who I don't know, and they just seem kind of a little flirty together, right? So if you're going to say that to your friend, what's the first thing he's going to do? He's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't have enough to put it out there, and if you're wrong, now you've created a problem.
Yeah.
And now what I'm not saying you do is never say anything. What I'm saying is you note it. You note it.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have to be careful, though, is sort of altering your perception now every time you're in a social setting.
Yep.
Like, you got to keep yourself checked because now you're going to be more likely to sort of be biased towards, she was smiling at that other guy.
Yeah.
And then flirting with, if she's the flirtatious, you said she is or she's not flirtatious?
She is flirty.
So, okay, so that makes it even more, think about it, that makes it even more confusing.
Yep.
She's the flirty type.
Yep.
So now this is too much flirting? Is it not, you know what I mean? It's more flirting than usual?
Well, and
How
I
often
think
are you
that
with
she's a flirt with people she knows.
Okay. Well, we don't know that she
And so we didn't know this guy.
Again,
It was like, who's this guy?
right. So if we're going to be detective here,
Yeah.
that's what if you're going to do anything, don't tell your friend, find out who that guy was.
Yeah.
Do anything you need to find out who that guy was. Like you said, maybe it's someone she works with. Maybe it's somebody she hasn't seen in a long time. Again, what I don't like when people do is, oh, I know what that is going on. You don't know enough from that.
Yeah.
And what I would hate to do is, if this is your friendship, you don't want to poison the friendship. Like, you don't want to me, this is the nuclear option when it doesn't need to be.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you the guy that if you know you're friends with a guy and a girl that are married, and you know that one of them is cheating or doing something they shouldn't be doing, do you go to the person cheating first and go, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
You need to tell them. Or do you go to the other person and say, listen, do you give them the chance to clear it up first and go, listen, I know what's going on here. Clear it up or else I'm going to say something
That's
to
exactly
John.
what you do.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Don't ever go to the John first.
I wouldn't, because again, you don't live.
It's not your call. I know a lot of people are like, it's none of your damn business. Stay out of it.
And here's the other thing.
A lot of people are like that.
Yeah.
Friends don't do that. But I'm like,
but if you're friends, you do that.
yeah. Don't. And I would say to her or him, don't put me in a position where I have to tell them what the hell's going on.
That's
here.
exactly.
Don't tell me the secret. I don't want to know.
But I don't like, the thing I don't like is when you see it. Look, when you see something, you can't unsee it.
Mm-hmm.
So don't play the game of, this is none of my business. This is none of my business. You hear the couple arguing next door. They're yelling and screaming at each other. Okay, fine. I mean, you hear that but you can't unhear that. So the next time you hear it again. God, they're arguing a lot. And then you hear a crash or something breaks. And the first thing you're doing is, and in that moment, a lot of people are like, well, that's none of my business. Well, you know what? You already heard all that other stuff. It is your business. You hear, if you never heard it, then it wouldn't be your business.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you go in and you create some, tornado of a disaster, but you do go in, particularly if it's friends, you do say something to let them know that there is something that they need to clear up. This you're not, because there's not enough evidence there. There's just, and that's the problem. We've talked about this all the time. What's betrayal? What's flirty?
Yeah.
What's flirty?
Yeah.
I mean, because I use the word operationalize. Can you operationalize flirty? Okay. She put her hand
Some
on
guys
his
will
elbow.
say, as long as she's coming home with me, I don't really care. I've seen guys do that.
Well,
That's the way she is. That's the way she is. She gets hell, she can get his phone numbers, but as long as she's going home with me, I'm fine.
Yeah,
And I'm like, and again,
That's like
okay.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't ever see that the other way around. He's always getting phone numbers. He ain't calling nobody. He's got it. He's got his work wife.
That's
I'm
right.
totally good because I know he's coming home to see me. I'm like, okay.
I mean, that's the other thing.
Because you're sending a message there that you're okay with that, and when you're sending that message,
it's not when you're in a relationship. I don't like if you're in a relationship, you shouldn't be flirty. You can be friendly. You're a hugger. See, you're a hugger. You're a hugger, but you're not a flirter. Flirter?
Some people would say I'm a flirter.
No.
Well, there's different levels of flirting.
Well, now you're single, so like
there's
now
a lot. For example, we went out and grabbed some dinner to go last night. I went down to Full Moon.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
The pandemic has changed all of this because now we have to flirt in a different way. Now it's interesting.
It's all in the eyes.
Yes.
So I went to Full Moon, and I had my youngest son and my daughter with me, and there was like a 25-minute wait. And I said, that's cool. We'll get soda and we'll sit and wait, and we'll watch some games or something. And so there was an older black woman who was working behind the counter who was super nice. And we had gotten a lot of food, and normally I would check. For some reason, whenever I'd order things for my daughter, they never put my daughter's food in the bag. And I used to do it with my ex-wife all the time. They never put my ex-wife's food in the bag. I don't know why. And of course, it was my fault. I'm like, well, check the damn. I'm like, well, stop ordering weird stuff then, because you don't order hot dogs at a barbecue joint, okay? When you go to a Mexican restaurant, don't ask for avocados, just avocados, uncut. Because they're not going to put them in there. Anyway,
it's called guacamole.
Yeah, ask for guacamole, not avocado. So anyway, so I was going to check the stuff because she asked for a moon dog, hot dog, because she likes hot dogs. And so I walked up, and this woman, she's like, checked all the stuff for me. Here, so make sure you got everything here. And she's taking your sandwich in here, and your thing,
Good.
And I said, and I grabbed her hand. I said, sweet pie, you're excellent what you do. You're sweet. I said, thank you very much. I said, I hope you have a blessed day. And she goes, thank you, baby doll. She goes, you have a great day too. And I walked away.
Context.
Well, my daughter. Why are you flirting with that woman?
Was that what your daughter said?
Yeah. I said, well, first of all, I'm single.
So that's
so I can do whatever the hell I want. I said,
Did
if
you
I
really
want to
say that to her?
No.
Oh.
No, but I just said, I'm single. I can flirt with whoever I want. And she went, and I said, I wasn't. There's
a whole lot. There's a lot of layers on this one. Go ahead.
I said I wasn't flirting. I was being friendly with her. I was being nice. And she said, what if she didn't want to be called Sweet Pea?
Yeah. Oh.
And I said,
amen. Look at her.
And I said, well, evidently she did, because she called me Sweet Pea back. And I said, that is my intention, was to this is my Rachel Barbeauism.
You had good intentions.
And my intentions were followed, and they were taken very well. Thank you very much.
Risk,
okay.
Yes. I love that you're not.
Risk versus reward.
Now, let's clarify this as you're going on. This is your 9-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Who is, think how perceptive.
I didn't know what the woman's need.
But think how perceptive that your daughter is watching.
I can't just say thank you. I have to say thank you something.
You don't have to call her sweetie. You gotta be careful.
I did. I mean, it just came out. You've done it. You done it.
I won't. Now I get in trouble for it.
I stay away from honey.
Yep.
I stay away from baby, because I used to call a lot of people baby. Everyone who knows me knows I don't call anybody by their name. I don't call you Josh. I call you brother.
Brother, yeah.
Brother's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
If I was gay and called you brother, would you be hurt? I call everyone brother, because you are my brother.
Right. Okay.
I call guys baby sometimes. No, I stay away from baby. I stay away from honey.
Well, sweetie, you said.
I didn't call my ex-wife her name. The only time I called my ex-wife her name was when we were having a deep, dark discussion or something very meaningful.
Yeah.
And I called her honey after we broke up. And man, I was like, I'm not your honey. I was like, sorry, friend. Sorry, my little buddy. I mean, I can't stop after. I can't just say thank you. I have to go, thank you, hon, or thank you, appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, something like that. In my intentions. And 99% of the time, it's well received. I've only gotten a couple where, what'd you call me?
Yeah.
I called a guy Slick once.
Yeah, I know. We did this also. Yes.
Dude. I said, thanks, Slick. What'd you call me?
Yeah.
I said, Slick.
Slick. You got to be careful with Slick.
Slick is a 50 terms for a pretty cool guy.
For a what?
Pretty cool guy.
50.
Hey, Slick.
Right.
My dad used to call me Slick.
Right.
Hey, big guy, Slick.
How old was this guy?
It's 35.
30, right. He had no idea what you called.
Oh, he got pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not your slick. I'm
That's
like,
right.
sorry.
I just think you have to be
Did
careful.
I apologize?
And
Because I
listen,
said,
I think the fact that your daughter thought you were flirting is a great experiment because it no, it is. It shows.
so you can make an argument because I flirt with a lot of people because I'm a people person and I shake hands and I kiss babies because my
you're
whole
not
job, my
flirting.
whole existence on this earth, God's gift for me is to move around rooms. Man, I mean, when I do
know. I've
speeches
seen
and when I work at Buffalo Wild Wings or Cage State, I mean, I go around and I meet
have
everybody.
seen you work a room, and
I
it's
work
like
a room.
poetry. It's like watching Michael Jordan play basketball.
Yeah.
You're 6'5".
I'm posting down. Yeah.
You're I
backing
so
into the
remember
post.
when we were at work play, and we were doing our thing,
Oh, yeah.
and I was so out of my element, and I'm like, where the hell Tony go?
Working it,
And
baby.
but you don't just work it. You like slide. It's like slide, and because of your height,
Yeah.
you know your
Oh, I know.
height totally because you're 6'5", so you're looking around. It's like a pro. It's
Never
like
never stay at one place too long.
No,
'Cause you wanna
but-
meet
but-
everybody.
But you don't look like you're rushing either.
Yep.
You're sliding. You're moving over here. You're moving over there. You're shaking hands. It's like I've never seen anything like. I told somebody they were at the event. I'm like, look at him, and they knew you from back in the day. Oh, he's working.
He's
He's working in his room.
Here's the other thing. This is really, really important for guys. Okay.
Okay.
If you go up to a couple, okay, and you know her really well, but you don't know him, always shake his hand
Oh, hey,
first.
I'm Tony.
It's respectful.
Yeah.
It's nice. I don't care if you used to date her. I don't care if you have children together with her.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
But I think
Always
that
go
goes-
up. The guys will appreciate that. First of all, they're like,
Yeah. That's right.
it puts them on edge a little bit because you're being so nice. You're like, hey, I know your wife Angie. What's
You
your
should-
name?
but that's- that's
and
not-
make conversation and let them know you come in peace and that you're not there to infringe upon anything, even if you have a past relationship. And when you sit down, you sit on his side, not on her
But
side.
that's common courtesy in general, right?
You know, a lot of guys are stupid. They don't realize it because they see you go, oh, I know her. I've known her for 20 years.
Well,
and who's this guy?
that's-
And you
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's just dumbass rude. Like that's got nothing to do with if you know
work
somebody.
a room, work the man first.
Well, but if you know somebody and you don't know somebody else, and they're standing there together,
Yeah.
you say to the person, you say, because we're teaching manners. Hey, so good to see you again, and that good. Oh, good to see you too. And the first thing, either they introduce you,
Yep.
instantly, and if they don't, instantly, your first thing is, hey, I'm Josh. Nice to meet you. I'm a friend of your wife, your husband, something like. This is, but the flirting thing and your daughter is fascinating because what she saw you do, that I know you weren't flirting, but what she saw you do, she as 9 years old who didn't understand the context. All she understood were the behaviors, pet name,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Lots of sort of looking back and forth and friendliness,
yeah,
engaged.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so at 9. She is saying, "Dad, why were you flirting?" And I think it's such an important test because perception is everything, and from the mouth of babes.
Yep.
And so, like, you got to be.
She also hugged me. She saw me hug the manager who I hadn't seen in 20 years, and she's like, "Why'd you hug that man?"
Yes.
Like, because he's a good friend of mine. I hadn't seen him in
And
20
I like
years.
your
I
daughter.
never-
She's a public health. This is the middle of a pandemic. She asked if he was vaccinated.
I had my mask on when I hugged him.
Great. See, that's
And I
okay.
didn't kiss him.
Well, good,
His
thank
name's
God.
Matt. He's a
Because
great guy.
if he kissed him, I'd be walking out the door.
Whatever.
Unless you ask him if he's vaccinated.
Whatever.
This whole thing about flirty, I think if you're with somebody and you are a couple, and particularly if you're married, it's okay to be friendly. Friendly is not the same as flirty, because flirting has an intimate sexual backbone to it. I'm not saying you want to sleep with them,
Yep.
right? That's my stepdad, God rest his soul, was like you. He loved everybody. He was a touchy guy. He hugged everybody. All my mom's female friends loved him,
Yep.
and he's hugging everybody. But everybody knew he wasn't flirty. There was nothing to it, and he wasn't working the room. That's the other thing. Flirty to me, if your spouse is working the room, that's being flirty. If they're working the room and hugging and things.
Well, yeah, some people just want to be liked too, and that's probably plays along to my insecurities. I mean, I want people to like me, and I've always wanted that because I work in an industry where I need ratings, and I want people to like my show, and I always know that when I create some type of relationship with
that's
someone,
even
whether it's a
deeper.
short relationship or a long relationship,
I'm gonna get into
that
your
when I
head
do get on stage, that my stuff that perhaps ain't funny is a little
Yes.
funnier because I just met him. He's funny. He's great. He was super nice to me,
You know what
and they'll laugh at your stuff even if you walk up in front of a room.
Oh,
you better be ready to. If you're a comedian, you're going to kill it. That's fine. You're stationary.
No, but
you're great.
yep.
But if you're getting up there to do a speech or something, I try to work the room ahead of time. Hey, my name is Tony Kurre. Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thanks for joining our charity. Blah 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 blah. And it makes being up on stage because you can fail up there and still pull it off.
So 2 things.
You got to be careful though, because girl flirts and guy flirts are 2 totally different things. Now, I've met a lot of people. What is she like? She's very flirty. And the guy's like, ooh, she's flirty. That's great. Okay, well, if a girl says she's flirty, look out.
Why?
Because if she knows she's flirty, then you're going to be dealing with, well, I'm flirty. And that's the way I am.
Well, so how's that different than a guy?
Now, if a girl's flirty and she doesn't know she's flirty, there's something kind of special about that.
Then
because
she's not flirty.
Because well, yeah, there is.
You don't know
Some girls don't know they're flirty. No. But the girls that know they're flirty, well, I'm just flirty. I always flirt with people. I'm just a flirt. My husband knows it doesn't mean anything.
You don't know.
Okay, well, as long as he's cool with that.
You don't know.
But guys who are flirty got to be really careful, particularly in this Me Too thing we got going on. No, it's true.
You're giving me so much crap to unpack.
I know a couple of guys that are pretty flirty, and it makes other guys feel pretty uncomfortable.
You just validated, and I was going to talk to you about your own need for validation, but I'll put that aside.
Mm-hmm.
You just validated my whole point. If you're flirty and you don't know you're flirty, then you're not flirty. Then you're friendly. Because flirting to me is there's an intention behind. I'm not saying that you're going to go sleep with the person, but there's an intention behind it. And so that's exactly, you can't say my wife is flirty, my girlfriend is flirty, and she has no idea. Because if she has no idea, she's not flirting. She may be friendly. She may be a toucher. She may be a talker. But the second she starts doing things...
Well, it depends on who you ask, because if she's overly friendly with someone, then that person may take it as a flirt. I may say she's flirty. She may not think she's flirty.
That's exactly that's exactly what I'm saying. And the whole Me Too thing, again, this whole Me Too thing with guys. Oh my God,
Governor Cuomo was flirty.
Well, yes, he called it.
He was a flirt.
He's a dumbass.
He was a dumbass flirt, is what he was.
But that's exactly. If you're in,
and he looked at it that way, and I believe he actually thinks that. I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying that there may be some times
he's
where
like,
he
I was just flirting.
Yeah, but he was a flirt. He was a public flirt.
Right, and you know what? Women have said
a lot of women liked it. No, a lot of women did like it. A lot of women didn't like it.
Who worked for him didn't like it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures. That thing where he posted like 1,000 pictures of him hugging and kissing people. And there's some women that were like cheek to cheek with him on purpose. They're like, look, I'm with him.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine if that's what they wanted to do.
Poor guy was sent the wrong message.
So, see, God. Okay, so here's my...
Poor guy.
Here's the
sending wrong messages.
You know, guys...
Where the hell is he, by the way?
I don't know. There's enough going on in the news right now. Look, if you're going to do something...
He just kind of fell apart.
No, if you're going to do something really bad right now is the time to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you're going to, I don't mean like murder or whatever, but then if you're going to do something really bad and illicit and stuff, now, I mean, we're not talking about Donald Trump all the time now. He's moved down on the link. So hang on. Let me tell you about your need for being friendly. Yeah. I'm going to say this because a lot of people do this. When we want people to like us, we seek validation because we want people to like us.
Yeah.
And we don't know. We want people to like us. We don't know if they do until there's some signal that they do, right?
Yep.
It may be they continue to talk to us. It may be they smile at us. So there are definitely those of us who are in more need of validation.
Yep.
I'm one.
Yep.
I'm one. I
don't know too many people that don't deep down want to be liked.
No, but everybody wants it. Well, everybody wants it. Yep. But I definitely think there are more people who are more uncomfortable if they don't have that, if they don't know that the validation is there.
They're more comfortable if they don't know the validation?
They're uncomfortable. They get more uncomfortable. They need validation quicker.
Yeah, no one wants to walk into a room where everyone's looking at you going, oh gosh.
No, but that's not, but that's different. That's this extreme. Yeah. You and me tend to be the more of, I need to know that you like me. Or you don't not like me. Let's just say it that way. And so we engage in behaviors, and particularly when we're in public situations. I do the same thing when I'm speaking. I work that room before I go up, so there's at least 6 people that I know like me, and I know which ones don't. Yeah. And I get up in front of there, and I'm...
Well, then why do you think they have meet and greets? Why do Why do comedians or rockers
Right.
or whoever, why do they stand outside the doors out of the concert? I hope you enjoyed your time.
Right.
They want to change first of all, they're probably trying to sell something. And second of all, they want people to
You
like
have to be
them.
very careful though about your need for validation. Not you.
You can
you
talk
and
about me,
everybody
it's fine.
else. No, you and everybody else.
I need to be validated.
Because we will overdo it. A lot of times we will push people away because we're pushing so hard to connect.
Yeah.
We're pushing. This is the smiling and talking, because the person on the other side, you may be scaring them. They may like you a lot, but you may be coming on too strong. Even if you're not touching them, it's this. You got to be able to sit with. I have my own confidence. I hope you like me. If you don't,
Yep.
that's fine. But I don't necessarily need to see some sort of signal. Now, I think part of what you do is you are a kind person. You're a loving person. But you also you want that feedback, even in a non-public situation, to know that it's okay. There's nothing wrong. That's not a
Yep.
that's not a thing.
So I get in and get out though.
What do you mean?
You know how I am. I mean, if I got a meeting, I'm good for an hour. But when I meet somebody, I'll go, hey, thanks for coming. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you here tonight to make your stay here more pleasurable. You guys having a good time? Is everything good? Is there blah 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 blah? And then I'm gone.
You've
And
come
then-
such a long
I
way.
leave them. I leave them wanting more.
No, you've come such a long way.
I leave them wanting more because then I'll go. I know I just talk about when I used to do my bar gigs or restaurant gigs. You know, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate you being here. That's why I love giving away prizes, because it gave you an excuse to walk up the table with a registration form and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're giving away some stuff tonight.
Well,
You
an
wanna fill
instant
that out?"
validation.
Really nice to
You
meet
may
you.
not like me, but I'm going to give you a prize.
Yeah, really nice to meet you. And then I split, and then they're like, "Who is that? Who is that?" You know, that kind of thing. And then if I come around a second time, pat them on the back. You guys doing good?
Is this why
You need a waitress over here? You good? Did you want to bid on something, or is there anything else? You know,
Is this why you are the way you are in business meetings? I was just thinking about that. I've always wondered. Yeah, I know you're getting better now that you're a business, tycoon.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered in the initial business meetings, we'd sit in a meeting together, and like within 40 minutes,
Oh man,
35 minutes, I could see you tapping your thing. But it makes all sense now. This whole thing makes sense. You come from a world of get in, get out.
Yep.
Up on stage, get in, get out. Hello, how are you? Nice. But you're not used to. You're a radio guy. You're not used to sitting with people in the same room for a prolonged period of time. You see?
you're
No, but you know
spot
what I
on.
mean? I'm not saying that you.
I will even go as far as to say that if I sit down and someone says, and it could be people I know, hey, why don't you have a seat? You want to sit with us? I can't do it. And it may be because I do butterfly a room and
That's
I'm
what
used
I
to
mean.
doing that.
That's exactly.
And it's not because I'm afraid I'm going to screw things up.
No,
It's just that
it makes you. It throws you off. It throws you off your game. The reason I know that,
I'm even like that with really good friends of mine.
I know because you're Mr. Float.
Like
the
I feel
room.
comfortable with you because we got something to
Well,
do.
we're usually smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
Well, look at this. Look at this right now. You haven't got up and left the room.
No. No. I mean, no. Yeah. But I mean, I feel totally comfortable with you.
Because I validate you.
Well, the question is now, if I walked into a restaurant and you were sitting there with Jules, would you invite me to sit down?
Yes.
No, you wouldn't.
Well, you mean if you walked into a restaurant and I was with Jules and I saw you and
You go,
saw me-
hey, what's going on? You'd push the chair in.
No.
Nice to see you. Well, you wouldn't invite me to sit down, though.
Yes, I would.
Well, I'd probably sit down. I'd go, hey, I'd probably sit
you
down.
do
and you wouldn't.
anyway.
Yeah, I probably would. But that never happened because we and I don't go to the same restaurants.
What do you mean we don't go? I go Full Moon. I like barbecue. What do you think I eat? Like Highlands only?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Jules?
Bottega.
No. Jules is very get in, get out. No long leisurely meals for Jules.
Yeah.
We go in, she eats. My dad was the same way too. My mom used to hate it. In fact, I think this is partly why they got divorced.
It's like when you see somebody that you know, you may not know their name, but you know them.
That's even
Maybe you're
worse.
supposed to know your name. Yeah, that's
I'm
that's
horrible.
something I am too. And
Yeah, but
for
see,
some reason,
you
like
can-
this Matt friend of mine from Full Moon last night, I hadn't seen him. I saw him and I was like, and the first thing I thought it was like,
Right.
okay, he's going to see me, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And then I remember his name. I was like, okay, I know his name good because it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I asked the one,
See,
is
but you
that
can-
Matt?
but you-
And she's
but
like,
you-
yeah.
But you have an excuse.
But there's that uncomfortable, hey, and you give him a hug. How you been? And it's been so long, and my son and my daughter's there, and he's like, yeah, and his daughter was working at Full Moon, and so then you kind of hit that, we should get together and have a pop sometime. Maybe have a cup of coffee or something. Okay, great, and then you're done. And it's then you feel good. Then you're like, okay, we left on a high note. We left it open ended. We'll probably never see each other again. Right. I hope we do. He's like, I look you up on Facebook. He goes, I follow you on KCast Radio. It's great. Blah blah blah. I was like, reach out to me. Da 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 da.
You have an excuse.
Yeah.
You have a celebrity excuse. You can play the celebrity card. Yeah. You can play the celebrity card because you can do. It's Cuomo. It's Trump. I meet so many. You know how many pictures I take with people?
It was a good night. Saw an old friend. Got to flirt a little bit.
According to your daughter, you got issues.
Yeah, my daughter, man. My daughter's. Man, she is.
She is 9 going on 17.
She's got some street sense. She calls me out. She watches everything.
Okay, so for all our newly divorced dads, you better watch your asses if you got young kids. Because your young kid, okay, any kids, not young, you got kids. Do you remember those? Listen, do you remember when you were a parent and they were young and they had just started they could talk, right? They're talking.
Yeah.
And they started mimicking you, the mimicking stage, right? Which is when all of us had to stop swearing for a period of time. Yeah. Okay. So this is right. So this is what's going to happen now. So, and then they get to be teenagers and then they know everything and they're calling you out on stuff, but they're calling you out on stuff, but when they're teenagers, they're really dumbasses. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Then they go to the next stage. Okay, so they go to the next stage, 20s. My kids are 20s. They call you out on stuff, and the problem is that they're right.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Sometimes not a lot of times. But with the divorce situation, now they're watching you. They are
What are they looking for?
Oh, anything. Because it's going in their minds. I mean, I say this seriously. I'm kidding about it, but they're playing it out. They don't know. Their world has changed.
I always made a concerted effort when I was married to make sure that they never saw me look at another woman for any reason. I mean, just if I saw something,
they saw you look at Jules.
I mean, it could have been, it's Jules, it's your wife. I'll flirt with your wife. But if a naked woman could walk across the room and I would go, and I pretend I didn't even see it, Now that they know I'm single again, and I'm like, and I haven't thrown this out there because it's going to happen. It's going to happen on its own time, and I'm in no hurry. But first of all, I haven't been able to look for 20-something years.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, now I look, like we're going to the beach. Oh my God.
You better be
talking
careful.
to the girl. Well, I know, but I mean, it's kind of like, and so they haven't called me out on it.
She just did a full moon.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So here's what happened when kids have gone. Kids are in the middle of a divorce.
They ain't used to seeing their mom and dad with other people.
They aren't. And yes, I mean, I'll be serious. It can be pretty distressing for them.
Yeah.
It absolutely can, but it's an adjustment and adaptation process. You have to be super careful. I have clients who deal with this issue. At what point do you, when you're dating somebody and you're sort of newly divorced and you begin dating somebody, you have two different challenges. One, when you're dating multiple people, then your kids are like, who's that lady? Who's that lady? Who's that lady? And usually the young kids are like, is that going to be my mom? Is that going to be my mom? And you do no, it's not. It's just somebody. But where it gets real challenging is when you start dating somebody more than one time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're getting married. I'm going to use 3 times, the second time. Because now your kid's radar screen goes up.
There's a great Publix commercial that's out right now.
About that?
Yeah. There's a guy cooking, and he's on the phone with his mother. He's got the phone down. She's like, "You're going to do great, honey." He's like, I know she really likes this, and so that's why I'm making this special meal.
Okay.
Publix has got them sappy commercials. They suck you in there. You're like,
Is this for the apron thing?
No. And so he's making it, and he's sweating, and he's looking at the clock, and he's like, "Okay, I think it's them, Mom. I got to go." And he hangs up with her, and he goes to the door, and there's a woman, and you're like, "Oh, he's got a date." And then the camera pans down to her little girl, and he goes, "It's really nice to meet you for the first time." And she's like, "It's really nice to meet you too." And then he's like sweating off. She's like, "You did good." And there's a Publix commercial. I'm like, "Oh, for God's sake!"
That's a great cut. Publix.
It's
but that's it.
No, but that's it. But
that's
I mean,
it.
that'll be something we talk about on the show because super protective of my kids, and I don't think there's any reason for them to know anyone I'm dating until I'm to the point where I feel pretty serious about it.
Which means you have to live somewhat of a secret life. Because
what I'll do is Daddy's going on a date. I'll tell him the truth. I'm going on a date.
They'll go,
are we gonna meet her? No.
Why not?
Maybe one day, but there's no reason.
Who is it?
It'll always be out. Yeah.
Who is it?
Yeah.
They go, you're gonna have. You're so lucky that you have a psychologist here. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna have so much fun.
Well, the good thing is I'm in no hurry. You don't believe
no hurry
me,
to what?
Huh?
No hurry to what? Get back out there?
To get back out there.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
I'm not.
No, you're not in a hurry to get back out there.
No. It's going to have to happen to me. I'm not going to look for it.
I'm not gonna,
Now, I know a lot of single guys were like,
well, yeah, because
we have a mutual friend of ours that reached out to me a couple days ago.
Yeah.
He sent me like 14 different apps. Dude, you got to get on this app. It's great. I've got women in every city in the country. I'm like, he goes, dude, women will fall all over you. You're going to be getting hooch in every city. I said, first of all, I don't travel. He goes, you'll travel for this one in Louisville, Kentucky. He sent me a picture. He goes, I already told her about you. I'm like, dude, stop. He's like, dude, he goes, get after it, man. He goes, this is what it's. I said, no, this is not what it's all about. At the age of 55, this is not what I want.
That's the
I said, I don't need any more drama in my life. It's no drama, dude. Just go out and knock it out and just have fun.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and again, I
well, you know where he's at.
That's exactly.
I'm like, okay.
That's exactly. So you're
actually doing pretty well.
No, you're fulfilling things that you never got to do as a younger age.
K-Cast Radio is my baby. My sweetheart, my sweetie pie.
Yeah. The other thing is now you have a public forum. He's jealous of you. Like, you don't even need your dating app. You just get out there.
The K-Cast Radio app is coming out for classic rockers. We're going to do that. Let's do that.
Well, I still say that we talked about it. I think that's a great idea.
If we had an app for classic rockers to date, do you think it'd be good, or do you think? I mean, they're going to
be careful.
The thing is,
not careful, but like think about it.
When you open up that can, though, you're going to have all kinds of weirdos.
That's exactly.
I mean, even like Farmer's Girl, people are going to infiltrate. It's like they're not Farmer's Girls. They've gotten on a tractor one time. They're sitting on a John Deere and they take a picture and they're thinking they're a Farmer's Girl. It's not a Farmer's Girl. You create these great ideas. It's like Facebook groups. Single women, widowed women with basset hounds. Great idea. Great. Next thing you know, there's 100,000 people. Not every one of these women are widowed with a basset hound. They're trolling, and they're trying to get a piece of ass, and they're looking around. And those are the people that ruin those things. So you're like, I don't have to pay attention to, it's really a dude, and he's got like a German Shepherd.
Well, they're trolling, or
he's never been on a tractor.
Or it's political. Because they've run out of political places.
Yeah.
So they're going to go into the basset hound group.
Yeah.
And to see how many,
We'll start at church, then go to the laundromat.
Are you really?
And then I'll go to Tinder.
That's very healthy for you.
Isn't that where you...
I think.
Boy, if you want to meet the right woman, stand at the bars. Where do you meet women? At church, laundromats, and then go to OnlyFans.
You know what's going to happen, though?
Yeah, what?
I think you're going to see it's much like a technology, right? This is when we gave my mom the cell phone for the first time.
Yeah.
Or the iPod. It was the iPod. Mom. Oh, I can't do that. I can only do CDs. We're like, no, you can get, look, 5,000 songs. I can't do that, right? Yep. And then as soon as oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. This is what's going to happen to you with dating apps.
Did I ever tell the story about my dad?
Did you get him an iPod?
He was, I got him an iPad.
I got my
because he loved playing blackjack, and he had cancer, and he couldn't get up and go to his office anymore, so I got him, and he loved it. Anyway, he would go to church. He didn't go to church with us for like 30-something years because he worked overnights, and he could have, but it was totally cool, and he was a God-fearing man, and I loved him for it. But then he started going to church almost every day, the latter part of his life, not just because of cancer, just because he had the time, and he became really close to a priest. And if you've gotten on my Twitter page, you've seen pictures of him there with the father saying, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so he goes to church, and this was after my mom had passed away. She died 7 years ago, something like that, and he passed away about 4 years ago. And there was a woman that lived down the street. We lived in a neighborhood where you kept the house. The Bealeys lived across the street. The Fies lived next door. The Crosby's down there. The Wilmicks down there. And seriously, like the last 50 years, no one moved.
Right.
Everyone knew each other. They knew what they were all about. Not everyone liked each other, but they knew. But that neighborhood, it was killer. I mean, we all knew each other, right? So there was a woman named Mrs. Wilmick that lived down at the bottom of the street. We called it the park. It was about a half-mile park. It was a circle up in Westchester, Ohio. And it's funny because my dad brought this up to me without any poaching or anything. He just brought it up to me one day, and I walked up and he goes, hey, I saw Mrs. Wilmick. And Mrs. Wilmick was always like high cheekbones, very attractive. She was married to an architect who was really wealthy, but he was a raging alcoholic. Always had a drink in his hand.
Your dad didn't sleep with Miss Womack. Oh, no.
So started going to church every day, and she'd say she'd check on him because my mom had passed away.
Yeah.
And neighbors do that. And he's like, and she asked if he needed anything. He's like, no, I'm just about ready to go to church. Blah blah blah. She goes, I was planning on going to church too. So this is my dad's like 78, 77 years old. She's probably about the same age. So she's like, I'll meet you there. And he's like, great. So he goes to church, and she sits next to him. And this is about a year after my mom passed away. My mom had dementia. It was ugly, and he stayed with her through it, and she threatened to kill him, and she was the mean white bitch. That's what they used to call her, the mean white bitch in 713. When you get dementia, you either get really nice or you're really mean, and she was the mean white bitch. So she sat next to him, and then during Catholic Mass, we do the Our Father, and we hold hands.
Oh, yeah.
So he reached out and held her hand, and they held hands. Well, he's telling me this. I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, after the Our Father was over,
there was
she didn't let go of my hand. And I said, well, that's sweet.
Yes.
And he goes, yeah. He goes, it was kind of nice to hold another woman's hand. And he said, and then when we sat down, I need my hands to sit down. She didn't let go of my hand, and so we held hands while we sat there. And I was like, what happened? He goes, well, after Mass, I was in my car and she was in her car. She said, Dick, that's my dad's name, Dick, would you like to go have a cup of coffee?
Oh.
And I said, what'd you do? He goes, I couldn't go. I said, why not? Why not? And he goes, I said, because of Mom? He goes, no. He goes, I just, I don't need to.
Yeah.
I said, listen, she's an older woman. She's widowed. You're an older man. You're widowed. Maybe she just wants to have a cup of coffee. Have a conversation. Well, maybe I'll invite her up to the house. I said, you ain't going to invite her up to the house. My dad ain't going to invite nobody to the house. I said, would you go if she invited you down to her house? And I mean, it's walking distance. Yeah. And I said, okay, first of all, you're telling me this to get some type of affirmation from me.
Look at you, Dr. Curry. Look at you.
You wouldn't be bringing this up if you weren't interested in Mrs. Wilson.
Psychologist.
Right?
Yeah.
He goes, I just thought I'd bring it up. I thought it was a great story. I said, it is a great story. And I said, and you should go have a cup of coffee with her. I said, you don't have to get after it. I said, but go have a cup of coffee with her. I said, you know what? Maybe she's lonely and she's looking for some company. And now that you're widowed, you guys can play checkers together, or watch TV together instead of sitting in your chair all day by yourself watching Wheel of Fortune.
What do you say?
I said, well, you know what? She knows you go to church every day. She's going to sit next to you. And sure enough, the next day, there she is at church again. She never showed up to church.
Holding his hand.
And holding his hand.
There
and
you
so
go.
they got the point where they kind of held hands, but they never got any further than that.
Yeah,
unless it did, and he didn't tell me.
Well, he may not have told you.
I told him, I said, Dad, knock it out. Go for it.
That's
fun.
Listen, that is one of the hardest things that you see.
But you know what? That was enough for him.
Well, yeah. Because he
didn't have to further the relationship. Just the fact that she was interested in him. Sometimes for guys, that's just enough. Just to get the phone number is enough for a guy to go, okay, I'm good.
Well, and it was validating for him. I mean, here's your dad who's been through, because I've experienced it myself with the decline of a loved one with Alzheimer's. It's hell. Yeah. It's hell. He's worked his whole life. You say he's a hardworking guy, and particularly for men, we want to be validated. But we have been both acculturated and sort of over generationally become inept at communicating our needs.
Yeah.
In a socially appropriate way. Mm-hmm. And your dad was a great example. It's a great example. On the one hand, he's like, that's such a guy.
No,
I don't know. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, he's like, I liked when she held my hand, because you need the touch. You need to feel validated. That's the thing that, we talk about the fern guys and real women want real men and all that kind of stuff. I need to make some sort of product about this, like, the secret to real manlyhood or something. Like, if you want women, or if you're gay and you want men, like, here's the universal truth. People want to feel that you connect with them emotionally, in addition to all the other things.
Yep.
If you are void of that, like if you're absent of that, people don't like you.
Yeah.
They're like, so the whole guy thing, they'll sleep with you,
yep.
But you will live a lonely existence if you are either unable or unwilling to put your emotions out there.
Yeah.
And man, whether you get it from therapy, a book,
church or your friend, and the reason that people need it, because it's part of being human. I see more men, particularly in the office, in the workplace. If we just got emotions out of this, we'd get more done. That's like you can't cut that out. So when you are not scoring, again, if you just wanted to bang someone on a one night stand and all that, fine. But if you want women or other people to really like you in an intimate way, you need to be intimate emotionally, because when the genitalia is the easiest part.
Yep.
You want to know somebody in the most intimate way, then you have to know their emotions and you have to be able to put it out there. And if you don't, they will leave you.
Maybe you had a tick down there.
Who, Dick? Dick had a tick? Can you cut that one, by the way? Can we use that one? Can you cut that? Can you get David to cut that? Can you get someone to cut that for us?
Maybe he had a tick down there like I did.
No, Dick could spend.
Maybe he had some chigger bites.
No, listen. I think, just to be honest, I think Dick, your dad, had some guilt.
Yeah.
Had some trepidation and guilt about the loss of his loved one, of his wife, and what to do. And like you, in this way, it'd been however many years.
I told him, I said, I don't like to tell somebody they deserve something.
Right.
Because no one deserves anything. They don't.
It's okay. You gave it. It's okay if you do.
Yeah, because we tell each other all the time, you deserve this, man. Yeah. You deserve the nicer car. You deserve to be in this relationship. You deserve. No, you don't deserve. You don't. You get what you get, and hard work pays off, and what you put in was what you get.
But you
out.
can't tell people it's okay to.
Yeah, but I said you should go for this. You should do this, and knowing that was probably going to be the last time that they ever came close. And again, intimacy. I know that 80-year-olds will tell me that they're still bumping.
Well, they might be.
Well, and they do.
Yeah.
They do. But for the most part, intimacy, it means something totally different at that point. And maybe just looking in their eyes and holding each other's hands.
Or kissing.
Yeah.
Having a kiss.
Hell, I may go call Mrs. Wilmick after the show.
Is that before or after Tinder?
She wants to go to church, huh?
Is that before or after Tinder? You should get in what'd you say, the Basset Hound group? What is it?
Widowed Women with Basset Hounds.
You should get into that group. Say, hey, I'm Tony Curry.
I had a Basset Hound at one point.
That's what I'm saying. You're not widowed, but you have a Basset Hound.
Is there a widow dating app?
I'm sure there is. Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm sure there's a. You know what? Yeah.
What do you think it's called?
Like, I don't know. Next chapter or something.
Next chapter.
I don't know. Like
dating apps
for widows or widowers.
For widowers.
Absolutely.
This is going to be.
That's absolutely.
This is not going to be
dating app. You see, if there's
dating apps for widowers. There's dating apps for young widowers too.
Okay. What's it called? I bet you it's Next Chapter.
Widowers is called Widowers Dating.
Okay, that's a good one.
The 5 best widow dating sites. They got Match, Our Time. Our Time is good.
That's good. That's
Bumble, Facebook dating.
Bumble.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not. Tinder, is Tinder on there?
Meet and date widows online.
Okay, be careful where you're looking.
This is called Just Widowers Singles.
Okay.
Just Widowers Singles.
That's terrible. That's tough.
We should not. Silver Singles.
There you go. Now we're getting good.
Silver Singles.
I like Next Chapter.
All right.